Hello everyone, Steve Roehl with West Central Distribution. In the last couple of weeks I provided you with some videos that displays a passion of mine, and that is the use of starter or in-furrow pop-up fertilizers in crop production in order to give our seedling crops easy and efficient access to early nutrients to ease that transition of our crop from when it is switching over of gaining their nutrients from the seed reserves to fully engaging in their photosynthetic capacities. That is a stressful time to a crop's life, and if we can provide those nutrients that it needs at that time, we can make a easier transition. But today, I'm standing in a soybean field and I want to talk to you about a more ominous side to the use of starter fertilizers when we're talking about crops that are a little more sensitive to starter fertilizers, and or when we fail to take into consideration the proper use rates on these sensitive type of crops. So in soybeans, in this particular situation, we have a farmer who was planting corn and switched over to soybeans without taking into consideration changing or diluting out the fertilizer or changing the fertilizer source. So he was using a corn fertilizer starter rate in furrow on his soybeans, which would be about, based upon this particular starter fertilizer, about 2 to 3x the amount of that particular fertilizer that he probably could have been using or should have been using on that soybean crop. So let's take a look at what we've got here. This would represent the last row of the pass that he made when he was using the starter fertilizer that he had been using on his corn at the corn starter fertilizer rate. Whereas on the contrast, this would represent the first row or first pass that he made where he ran out of the corn starter fertilizer and was applying no starter. As you can see, there is some stand loss and some serious injury to the soybeans that received excess amounts of starter fertilizer at the corn fertilizer rate. And this is because of that process, that phenomenon we call starter burn. When we apply starter fertilizers, we apply a very concentrated bands of salts, certain salt-based fertilizers in the soil, and immediately that concentrated band starts to try to create an osmotic potential or osmotic equilibrium in the soil. Okay, so things diffuse from areas of high concentration to low concentration, and water moves into that concentrated band. If there is not enough water in the soil to equalize that osmotic gradient, it will start to steal it from the plant tissue, and some plants, some crops, much more sensitive than others. So in this case, we see some injury to the cotyledons and to the hypocotyls, and in some cases death, and other cases some stunting. So again, I want to leave you with this. I am passionate about use of starter fertilizers in crop production to maximize our yields, but when doing so, we need to be cognizant and take into consideration the sensitivity of the crop and the proper starter fertilizer source and or rate. Again, this is Steve Roehl with West Central Distribution. Thank you.